Adam Savage here from Tested, and I am in New Zealand with my friend Johnny Fraser-Allen, and we are about to go small in a big way. Johnny, we have covered you on Tested before, your amazing work and the worlds that you brought in. This is one we've covered in the past, is that correct?
So this is where we left off. This is a little bit of Hagglethorn Hollow. It's in a more concise little segment here because we made this for a display, a playable display for the game Zombicide for Cool Mini or Not at Gen Con and Essen. So this has been back and forth from Germany to America. And we must have had 12 games a day, 4 people around it playing this as Zombicide with, you know, these removable interiors and everything. And you've seen that before. And at the moment, we've got the medieval fantasy version of the kids from Stranger Things in there. But from the last video and the successful launch of this product line, we've had so much amazing feedback and response to it that we've kept going, and we've created the whole next line, and I wanted to share that with you today.
Oh my God, I'm so excited because it's so beautiful, and the way in which your sculpture draws you in, which is one thing, it's like to be drawn into detail and beauty and ingenuity, but it's another that also acts in service of bringing you into this complete world.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, anything I can do to avoid reality. It's a good day for me.
I'm right there with you. Okay.
I will show you the next one.
Please, let's do it. Yeah, show me around this world.
Here's one we prepared earlier. Okay, so if we get all this stuff off for a sec.
Yeah.
So first we're doing a little road system thing there, nice and basic. So you're going to be able to put your houses of Hagglethorn around that.
Okay, and these I can see that matches that. So
exactly,
they can line
but
up
with
to
a little
each other.
with a little bit that you can actually start turning them and stuff like that.
Right.
We've got a cool sort of bridge. You know, it's almost like what could lead up to a wood elf kingdom or a border, you know, gnomes or all sorts of things. Every one of these has a story within Hagglethorn Hollow, but I build everything so anybody can play it with their games. Age of Sigmar, D&D mainly.
Or this is where you go to the Twisted Foot Clinic.
Yeah, yeah.
This terrifying pathway.
Yeah, they don't cobble right in Hagglethorn.
It's so beautiful, Johnny.
I love sculpting nature. So, and then we've got this kind of these two castle components that go with the ruins that are already established from the product line of Hagglethorn Hollow.
Okay.
Can work just like this, or go together as this, you know, kind of cool,
a whole different dwelling,
kingdom sort of dwelling. And again, everything's about playability and line of sight, and how you can use this as an objective to kind of get on the battlefield. And
so it's all geared towards being able to both see yourself in it, but also be able to move around and manipulate around it.
Exactly.
You prioritize it for gameplay.
Exactly. Well, again, like I said last time, still looking almost like a film set that is as much work to set up for your game as that.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have this guy here, who's kind of like the gateway to a known kingdom.
Oh, right.
You see there. Oh, and so you can use this as, I mean, maybe if you play Sylvaneth and Warhammer or something like that, this could be the summoning portal where your army comes from. Right. It's just a cool terrain piece to stick in there. I kind of, in my head, I didn't use photos, but I was riffing off that guy. He chose poorly.
Yeah,
Indiana Jones,
the knight, right? From
the
Raiders.
He's also the guy that leads you to the Griffin and the storyteller.
Yeah.
But I also chose to make this as a functioning dice tower.
No.
So
I was wondering what that was.
And then, if you want, you can even line your current dice up in these bits up here to show what your score is. Or keep them up here as like, there we go. As this way, you need them in here. You keep them in here as just a ready to grab dice pool, and you put them in your dice tower. And then you can put the whole thing together like this. Remember how it works. There you go.
What?
The road goes there like that. This goes like this. And then,
Oh my God, it's a thing. There's a thing happening. Yes, it's a dragon.
so now you've got this dragon temple.
Oh my gosh.
And there's little bits of ruins that you can tuck in and around any bits like that, and just seam it all together. And you have what we're calling Brackencourt Keep. So this is the next thing where we're going to be launching, and then so story-wise, it fits in with Hagglethorn Hollow because we're creating this whole range of gnomes and characters, and we're sculpting up.
I'm freaking speechless.
So here's a little tree stump, right?
Yeah.
So like you might find a necromancer's tower, and they'll raise the dead. But say if this is like the Frankenstein's tower for the tree people, the dead to the forest are the tree stumps. So they're resurrecting the tree stumps that are going to come back. And so the tree stumps will be about this big scale-wise.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So you can have an army of these guys. But these garden gnomes that you've seen before,
Yes.
so these sort of characters here, right?
Right.
They'll be as miniatures about the size of this guy. There's the little hoggle I made. But in the future, when these are available, you'll be able to make them ride the tree stumps as cavalry units. But also, every tree stump and every a gnome are based on the different 13 classes of Dungeons and Dragons. So this is a barbarian, and this is a wizard. And so here we've got
amazing.
And so there we've got some works in progress there. But ultimately, this is the next set piece, and we're going to be showing tutorials on how you can cover this in moss and foliage.
My God, I'm sort of speechless and overwhelmed at how many different communities you are servicing here.
Well, because I'm in all those communities,
Right.
It's a lot of work to put some of these together, and it's modular because I want to use it for different stories.
Sure.
It's modular because I need to take it apart and put it on my shelf in the garage or the games room afterwards. I need it to service the games I play, like D&D, Warhammer, and the eventual Hagglethorn Hollow system that we're developing.
But the other thing that's really generous about this is that when you're sculpting, I know from talking to you that you start out with a plan, but it sometimes goes far afield, and you're never sure where you're going to end up, and that's why you do it. Mm-hmm. But you're also making a set of things in which the outcome of how they're arranged can be something way beyond anything you've ever conceived, because you're giving that sort of open-ended play to everybody with this. That's really
I can't wait
amazing.
to see the stories and adventures people come up with. The dice tower was a surprise to me while I sculpted it.
Oh, really?
But yeah, again, I like to make things that you can display, because most of the time, if
It's
you own one of
sitting on the
these,
shelf.
between game days,
Right.
and if it's going to sit on the shelf, it better be a beautiful piece of sculpture that you're going to enjoy looking at.
Have you had fans use your stuff in ways that surprised you and delighted you?
Well, when we were showing the Hagglethorn Hollow at Gen Con, on day one, I had about 12 people that were full backers of Hagglethorn Hollow Camp. That's every building painted and everything. And so as an artist, once Hagglethorn Hollow went out there and sold, and people responded to it, for better or worse, my immediate response inside was, I don't think it's good enough.
Totally.
But I'm like that
sense.
with all my art.
Yep.
And so I was nervous to show it at Gen Con, to be honest, just because of why. And then
Sure.
About 12 full backers on day one came up and go, oh my God, we've come to see this. If it looks half this good, we'll be stoked. And so I just relaxed after that, and it was such a thrill to hear. And I've got people telling me the color palettes they're gonna change. A lot of people want kind of blue roofs and stuff like that.
Right.
And that was always the bit I'm looking forward to most, is seeing how people use it, because I know how I'm going to use it.
Right.
But I've made it for everyone else's adventures.
Yeah. The freedom you're giving everybody to put this together in any which way they choose is it's generous.
Well, speaking of putting it together, I thought I've made a little diorama, and I've also made a lot of trees and everything. And I thought I'd show you, together we could work at putting this together in a landscape and show you how I can seam stuff to make a really modular landscape out of it all.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, let's totally do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Johnny. I was over there having a cup of tea while you were setting this up. You want to do the big reveal?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so this is just the base landscape there. So I've made this, all of my stuff is modular.
Right.
Because for both storage and gameplay. And so I've made this because I want to display Bracken quartz keep on it for your video.
Right.
But because I'm putting all the work in, I'm also going to use it for the Plains of Rohan. I stick some trees on there. I've got Fangorn Forest.
Oh my
and
God.
I've worked on how to do some fir trees because I want to make an epic Battle for Endor game for Star Wars Legion. That. So, I mean, it never just has to serve. It's also going to be, I've collected for years enough halflings and ruffians that I can do the scouring of the Shire that wasn't in the movie, which was my favorite chapter. So stuff like that. So I can use this for all sorts. But so for now, I'll just walk you through this first one, and then you can put whatever you want anywhere, and we'll just kind of work our way through it.
All right.
So this guy is just a modular tree thing like this, and you slap that down, and then this little cooking channel thing I got here. So here's
Little bits of moss.
here's three products. We've got these little bits of moss,
Right.
and if you just stick that down there like that,
To kind of hide.
that hides a gap.
Yeah.
And then between this fern style and this sort of brackeny bush style, all you've got to do is wedge those in there like that, and no time flat we'll have this this plain kind of Otago scrub lands into a fantasy forest.
The thing is like I just put a piece down, and I was like, all right, I'm going to fill this gap. And I put the piece down and filled the gap, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. I'll set the castle up and throw any ruins or trees you want. I've created some fir trees here as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
So
let's see here.
how I've made those is
Yeah.
I sculpted this kind of Shrek UX candle thing.
Yeah.
And I sculpted so I could save time on drilling later. I made the holes big enough for these. This is a tree product you can get, which I wasn't terribly happy with just as a tree, but I realized if I turn it upside down, I begin to make a passable fir tree, which I can't find anywhere, right? And then as I move up the branch, I snip the branches, and then to cap it off, I grab the Woodland Scenics tree armatures. Now these bend however you want. So you twist that round, bend it really fast, they're really durable. You stick that to the top,
Wow.
and then by the time you get to the top, you can start plucking bits off this product and sticking them on there like that.
Right.
And then that's how you get a fir tree.
Unbelievable. I love how you've used an existing product and made it better and more versatile.
I just like really, really big trees. Otherwise, what's the point?
And you're trying to figure out a way to let everyone have big trees.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I can set the scope here.
All right. You know what? Oh, yeah, there we go. It's been there so long, tree grew up in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's great. Huh.
It's so much fun.
It's good. So the idea with this stuff as well is, I much prefer being on the adventure than running it, and so I need to create this stuff so any dungeon master that you're playing with can take me on an adventure and know what they've got to use, slap this together. I'll leave them in the garage for 30 minutes, and then we can come in and
You get to experience it as new. Yeah. I mean, and the versatility here is such that, like, anybody else that sets this up, it's going to be unfamiliar territory to you.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, I love these bits of moss.
Great, eh? So, I mean, a lot of these products we use to set dress Skull Island and King Kong, and
You mean the plant stuff?
The moss and these little fern things, yeah. And they even work to the breeze. Like you can run air over this, and some of the miniatures they filmed on King Kong, they got like motion out of this.
Wow.
Didn't have to digitally do anything. So for the Brackencourt Keep, we're looking at along with the stumps, releasing a sleeping dragon and baby hatchlings and stuff in there. So you can play a game where you've either got to save the baby dragons or take them away from the mother for spells or whatever. I just want to provide as much content for your imagination to come up with a new game each week. And
well, I mean, look, I've dressed sets like this for real. They take weeks and weeks and weeks of work, and sometimes you're often making decisions that seem too obvious when you step back. And you have to do all this correction, and you are like, this set is like galloping to the finish because I just looked up and was like, oh my god, we just created a whole brand new thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the gaps are just so easy to plug.
They really are, and the sizes of the moss that you've chosen is like spectacular. Is this Scotch? Is this 3M Scotch
So
pad?
there's these little circular fake moss mats.
Oh, okay.
That you get at garden centres.
Yeah.
That people put in their homes on coffee tables, or I don't know what people use them for. But for me, if you rip off the padded kind of Dacron spongy bottom of them,
Yeah.
and then heat torch it for a couple of seconds, and rip them up into the natural segments they rip up into anyway,
Yeah.
you suddenly have the most realistic gaming scalable moss you can get. So I've been desperate for some time to figure out how to do good trees like that, because I'm now going to make ones twice as big with the platforms in it for indoor.
Oh, of course. And the double log chicken walker.
It's going to be in there.
ATST
Yeah.
square. Okay. Good.
Yeah, because with other, I made this for the last time you saw us with the modular terrain board. I was happy with how it came out, but it was all pretty flat and basic.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd be happy with that, but then I looked at it and I thought you could do better than that. I want it to really look, like I want you to stand over your scenery and feel like you've rented a helicopter, so I had to make something that was more scenic and
That's the perfect description for what it feels like to be standing here. I feel like I've rented a helicopter.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm flying over a completely new landscape.
There we go. We're pretty much done.
Johnny,
Got the last candles on the cake.
for literally, we've just been doing this for 15 minutes. I know the edit might make it seem faster, but seriously, this is like
And now you go to forest.
stupid fast, and we have this beautiful forest, and it's super evocative. I mean, there's a 10-year-old inside of me who's just like wants to spend a whole afternoon just kind of like making up a story about whoever lives under here and what's going on over there.
And that's the funnest part, because now you can just slap these for everyone and populate the ruins with goblins, and these are your heroes there.
Oh.
Look at that. So you can get an idea of if you brought your gaming group into this, it's almost like an entire level on a computer game you've got to figure out. And you can leave it set up, and you could probably spend several weeks of getting through this. And I've carved lots of paths to make sure that there's lots of options of adventures and places to choose. And again, this is just a base template for you to figure out what adventures take place on it,
Well, in this very short time this morning, I've already feel like I've gone on an epic adventure with you, Johnny.
I've been blown away in the last so many years of how epically beautiful computer games are. But I'm not much of a gamer, and I find myself just wanting to walk through the landscapes.
That's all I want to do.
And when someone comes at me and I'm fighting, so I don't want to attack things. I just want to look at
Me
how
too.
they've rendered that tree.
Me too.
You know? And but most of that is because being a maker, as cool as it is to have the opportunity to run around other people's worlds, I want to take what I've learned from them and physically make them for myself.
Yeah, the very first time I played Tomb Raider, I just downloaded a cheat code and wandered around all the levels in God mode for about 2 weeks.
That's so great.
It was the best.
Yeah. And there we go. It's ready for a game.
Johnny, I'm overwhelmed. This is so beautiful and so loving. I mean, there's the look. I mean, we're in a place devoted to giving people transformative experiences, right? To taking them to places they've never been, and this set is allowing people to do that right in their house. That's really, really thrilling and amazing. Thank you for showing me, man.
Cheers,
this
mate.
is incredible. Wow. All right.
See you next.
You can
months.
cut, but I'll be here for another couple of hours.
Let's get those dice.
Yeah.